Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about Elon Musk's 10 tips to investing. Elon Musk is a successful entrepreneur and investor known for his innovative and disruptive approach to business. Here are 10 tips that he has shared over the years. 1. Look for opportunities in emerging and underserved markets. Elon Musk believes in the power of innovation to create new markets and disrupt existing ones, and he advises investors to look for opportunities in areas that are not yet well served by existing businesses. By identifying and investing in emerging markets, investors can potentially tap into new sources of growth and value and benefit from being early adopters in exciting and innovative fields. 2. Invest in companies with a strong mission and vision. Elon Musk advises investors to seek out companies that have a clear and compelling mission and vision, and that are driven by a passion for their work. Companies with a strong mission and vision tend to be more focused, more motivated, and more capable of achieving success, and they can be attractive investments for investors who want to align their values and goals with those of the companies they invest in. 3. Don't be afraid to take risks. Elon Musk believes that risk is an essential part of entrepreneurship and investing, and he advises investors to be willing to take calculated risks in order to achieve their goals. While it's important to avoid reckless or foolish risks, investors should also be willing to embrace opportunities that may involve some level of uncertainty or challenge. By taking calculated risks, investors can potentially unlock new sources of value and growth and set themselves apart from more risk-averse investors. 4. Focus on long-term value. Elon Musk advises investors to focus on the long-term value of their investments, rather than short-term gains or market fluctuations. While it's natural for investors to be concerned about the performance of their investments in the short term, it's important to remember that the stock market and other investment markets are inherently volatile, and that short-term movements are not always reflective of a company's underlying value. By focusing on long-term value, investors can potentially avoid being swayed by short-term noise and stay focused on the bigger picture value of their investments, rather than short-term gains or market fluctuation. While it's natural for investors to be concerned about the performance of their investments in the short term, it's important to remember that the stock market and other investment markets are inherently volatile, and that short-term movements are not always reflective of a company's underlying value. By focusing on long-term value, investors can potentially avoid being swayed by short-term noise and stay focused on the bigger picture. 5. Don't be afraid to fail. Elon Musk believes that failure is an essential part of the learning and growth process, and he advises investors to be willing to fail in order to learn and improve. Investing, like any other pursuit, involves a certain degree of uncertainty and risk, and it's inevitable that investors will sometimes make mistakes or suffer losses. However, by viewing failure as an opportunity to learn and grow, investors can potentially turn those setbacks into valuable lessons that can help them to become better and more successful investors over time. 6. Surround yourself with a talented and dedicated team. Elon Musk believes that a strong and capable team is essential for success, and he advises investors to seek out companies that have a talented and dedicated team in place. Companies with strong teams tend to be more effective, more efficient, and more capable of achieving their goals, and they can be attractive investments for investors who want to align themselves with successful and capable teams. 7. Be open to new ideas and perspectives. Elon Musk advises investors to be open to new ideas and perspectives, and to be willing to challenge their assumptions and beliefs in order to stay ahead of the curve. In today's fast-paced and rapidly changing world, it's important for investors to be open to new ideas and perspectives, and to be willing to adapt and evolve in response to changing circumstances. By remaining open-minded and flexible, investors can potentially stay ahead of the curve and avoid being left behind by new developments and trends. 8. Be prepared to adapt and evolve. Elon Musk believes that the world is constantly changing, and he advises investors to be prepared to adapt and evolve in order to stay relevant and successful. In order to remain competitive and successful over the long term, investors need to be able to adapt and evolve in response to changing circumstances and new developments. By being prepared to adapt and evolve, investors can potentially stay ahead of the curve and continue to create value and achieve success in a rapidly changing world. 9. Don't be afraid to challenge the status quo. Elon Musk advises investors to be willing to challenge the status quo and to think outside the box in order to create value and drive innovation. In today's business world, it's important to be willing to challenge the conventional wisdom and to think outside the box in order to stay ahead of the competition and create value. By challenging the status quo and embracing new ideas and approaches, investors can potentially unlock new sources of growth and value and stay ahead of the curve. 10. Always be learning and growing. Elon Musk believes that learning and personal growth are essential for success, and he advises investors to be lifelong learners and to constantly seek out new knowledge and experiences. Investing, like any other pursuit, requires constant learning and growth in order to stay ahead of the curve and continue to create value. By committing to lifelong learning and personal growth, investors can potentially stay on the cutting edge and continue to achieve success in their investments. In conclusion, these are Elon Musk's 10 tips to investing. By following these principles, you can potentially increase your chances of success and build your wealth over the long term. Thank you for watching, and be sure to check out our other videos for more insights and advice on investing and personal finance.